Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Emily.
We're reading ambassadors and members of the S2 Book Club. We're here to talk to Mrs. Hutcheon from the amazing SPSA team about books and her love for reading. This interview is for the library's Prêt radio podcast, which you can find on YouTube. Mrs. H, we know you are a big reader, but have you always been since you were a girl?
No, I haven't always been a big reader. I don't really remember much about stories when I was little, and I remember my mum trying to make me read books like Anne of Green Gables and What Katie Did and some other ones that I can't remember. Laura Ingalls Wilder, Little House on the Prairie, and I would try and read them and I couldn't read them. I found them too difficult, and so I didn't bother. But I started reading when I was in secondary school, and I just used to read chick flick novels, like easy stuff, romance stuff, that kind of thing. And I'd go to the library with my friends and we'd get a whole load of books. And that's where it started, when I realised I could escape and just get into a book and get into a story, even if it wasn't particularly, deep or thoughtful.
Why do you think reading is so important for kids and adults?
Well, I know it's important because I know it expands your language. I know it's really important. I also know it's really important for taking time away from screens and from other people and escaping, and it gives you a little bit of downtime, gives you an unwind time. Would you agree with me? Do you find that when you're reading?
But sometimes you can also read on your phone or a
You
screen.
can absolutely read on your phone. I'm all for that. And I've actually just recently properly discovered the audio idea. And I've just listened to the most amazing book on audio and absolutely love that idea too, because it allows me to cook and listen. Sometimes I'm too tired when I go to my bed. So if I can do it along with other things, that's really helpful too. But I just think the escapism I find on social media, if you're scrolling through and you're just looking at, it's not deep and it's 2-3 seconds long and you're not really absorbing it, whereas when you get into a book, like I can see your one on the table, once you escape into that little land and that world and these people, you take yourself off somewhere else. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, and sometimes people base their personalities off different books.
They absolutely do, and then you build an empathy. Suddenly, when the book ends, you're almost distraught because you think, I don't know what happens. And I love it when a second one comes out.
Or if your favourite character dies.
Yeah, if they die. Or they become fun. So you feel everything they're feeling, and I think, so that builds empathy. It builds that kind of, which you don't get, I don't think, from other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your favourite book of all time?
Up until recently, I didn't think I had a favourite book. I was trying to think back. I still remember in fourth year, I did The Falklands Whale by Pierre Boulle, and I went back and reread it later as an adult and still enjoyed it. I always thought, was that my favourite book? But then I discovered Matt Haig, and The Midnight Library is my favourite book. So I reread that within recent times. It'd been a long time since I'd read The Falklands Whale, but I reread The Midnight Library within a couple of years, and I've never been forced to do that before. I absolutely love him. So I would recommend anyone reads The Midnight Library. It's fantastic.
Okay.
It's such a good, and I love all of his books. They're all very different. And I know a little bit about him because of his social media presence, and because I've gone and watched him speak.
Yeah.
I know a little bit about his history and his life experience, and then so when I read his books, I can see where where he's in tune with people with poor mental health, people that have struggled with losing family members, that have struggled with grief, that have struggled with their own personal turmoil. So his books, they're just so real and they come alive. He's really, really gifted. He writes children's books, and I'll read anything by him. So I think, definitely The Midnight Library is my favourite. Yes, Emma.
What is The Midnight Library about?
The Midnight Library is about the concept that before you die, so somebody midway between, there's like a library of possibility of how your life may have turned out. So supposing you leave school and you don't take that university place that you thought you were going to take, so in this mid-state, so this girl's in a coma, and so she goes into this, gets an opportunity to experience different ways her life could have turned out. I won't tell you any more than that because you'd love it. It's
I'm reading
good.
a similar one, but it's a webtoon. It's just called Nevermore. It's based off of some of Edgar Allan Poe's poems.
Yeah.
So there's this girl called Leonore, and then she's the main character, and then someone called Annabelle Lee, and they're in this school, in this place in between the living and the dead. So they get a new turn of life if they can survive this school place.
Okay.
It's really good.
I like that idea. I think I've seen that book. I can see the writing of Nevermore in my head. Yeah.
And they can turn into spectres, which is basically their spiritual thing of how it turns out how they were how they died. They have to find out how they died to turn into spectres.
Oh, okay. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Is it graphic novel or is it novel?
It's graphic novel.
Okay. I find them trickier to read, so maybe I should challenge myself and read it. Yeah.
Oh. Do you have a favourite author?
So I think my favourite author is probably Matt Haig, and it's probably why I said, because I know a little bit from hearing him speak. It was one of, he does, we'll call them self-help books as well. So this one it wasn't Reasons to Stay Alive. It was, my mind's gone a blank. I can't remember. Surviving on a, no.
Boat?
Oh, no. I can see the black cover. We'll not worry about that. We'll not worry about what the book is called at the moment, but it was a second kind of self-help book, if you like. Yeah. And so he went travelling around and he notes to stay alive, notes on a nervous planet. I think that was what it was called. So he went round and he was talking about his book. So he talked a lot about his own story. So it kind of brought everything else that I knew about him to life, if you like. And I like the fact that he can write a book that you can dip in and out of, and it's a helping book. It's a bit humorous, a bit kind of, you can pass it on to someone. You don't need to read the whole thing. Or he can write a book for me that I can enjoy in depth, or he can write a book that a 5-year-old could read, and with all the pictures as wonderful characters that come to life with an illustrator. He is by far my favourite, I think. And then his films, they've also turned one of his books into a film, and it's magic, and he had a lot to do with that process, so it didn't lose the magic of it. Yeah.
What are you reading right now?
What am I reading right now? So I'm listening to Tomorrow by Gabriel Zevin. That's part of our school book club. So I'm listening to that, but I've just run out of my hours. I've got to wait till the 20th of the month till I get my hour thing back. So I've put that one on hold, and I've just started a new one that I got for Christmas that I can't remember the name of, and I'm not quite into it yet. That's going to annoy me that I didn't come prepared with the book in my hand, because it's in my bag down the stairs to read at lunchtime. But it's an interesting one that spans 4 generations of a family, and I'm just started. I'm at that point where I think, do I like this? Do I not? I'll keep going, because I think it's going to open itself out. Plus I got lazy listening to books. Now I'm having to actually use my eyes and not be tired and read. But sometimes I have more than one on the go. Sometimes I've got, I'll read 2 or 3 things at once, depending on what I'm in the mood for. I can't wait to get back to my audio one. So the 20th of the month, when's that? What's today, the 16th? 4 more days.
Yeah, today's the 16th.
4 more days.
Yeah, 4 more days. Do you have a preferred genre, or will you read any genre?
I definitely like reading books about people I can associate with. I can sort of, not associate with, is that the right word? That I can sympathise with, that I have empathy with, where I could put myself in their shoes. Definitely that's my preferred. But I have read books, Murderbot. Miss Stewart gave me Murderbot to read, and I really enjoyed it. And that was not something I would have picked up off the shelf. There's been other ones that people have said to me, read this, have a go up, and so I've realised that what I enjoy is broader than what I think. But if I had a choice, I'll always end up going down the lines. It'll be a female character, or sometimes a male, depending, where I can see myself in there. That definitely is my preferred, because I can literally just put myself in their shoes.
I can never get into a book unless it's fantasy, or the character has a really good story build up.
Yeah.
I don't want explaining it at the very start. I like a good.
You like to
find
watch it
out.
grow,
Yeah.
and then
You have to find out.
a good book to me is when you think something's going to happen. You kind of have an idea,
Yeah.
but it evolves totally different, and then you can see how that was happening, but you didn't see it at the beginning, and it's like it kind of blows your mind a little bit. Yeah.
That happens when watching anime too. I'm like, Betty's gonna do this, or she's gonna do that. No,
No,
doesn't happen.
doesn't happen. Something else really clever that you
Always
wouldn't
like a
have
good traumatizing backstory.
A good traumatising
Always adds
backstory.
to the character.
Oh, they always have to be this from their mum or a dad,
Yeah.
or both.
thought. Yes,
And Black Butler, for instance, he's got no parents. He's only got Sebastian, this demon. Butler, who is
Nearly every
on
time.
point,
Every
the best
one.
butler ever.
you can lose yourself in it.
Love Black Butler.
And just make up my character and slide my thing. You
Oh
go
yes,
there.
the imaginary stories.
Oh,
that you make
my
up on
characters.
class.
Amazing.
That's what I do in the shower. I sit there like, oh.
Yeah, when I'm reading a good book, I can really, I feel like I know these people.
Yeah. It's like
I really feel like I've the big long audiobook that had come recommended to me by my mum, and her sister had recommended it to her, is a set of 7 books. So I finished the first one, really long book, and it's about it's called The Seven Sisters.
Yeah.
So this was the first sister, but there's only actually 6 of them. But the 7th book, so we don't know quite who this person will be. So I'm quite excited to get back to that, because that was a really interesting back and forward, well written book.
Mystery.
Lucinda Riley, see, I can remember some things. I recommend that one as well.
Do you always finish a book even if you hate it?
Usually, yes. I did something terrible once. I threw a book out because it was awful. I finished it, couldn't believe they just killed everybody off. How lazy. It was a horrendous book. And I'd finished it. So I think I don't always. In that case, I persevered because it was a book club one, and I thought I should finish and find out the ending. I have on occasion now gone, no, I can't read this. And that's usually if it's too frivolous. If I've started like a romancy chick flick type thing.
Yeah.
So if it's too frivolous and it's not got much depth to it, and I think, no, this is just going to be mind numbing, and it's not what I want,
Yeah.
I'll put it aside and I'll gift it to somebody else, or charity shop it or whatever.
Yeah, I see reading books.
I really
like
hate a book though. Yeah.
Yeah. I see reading books as a game. It's like you have to finish this chapter if you want to get onto the next one. It's like next challenge, like our Conquest and Genshin Impact. I have to finish it. I need to know what happens. But
It's a
even
quest.
if I hate it, play it like a game. Read it like
It's a good lesson in perseverance, I think. You never know what you might get out of it.
I sometimes can't get into a book, and if I can't get into it, I feel like, well, if I don't feel like reading this anymore, there's no point in reading it.
No,
If
and
you're not
maybe
going
if
to
you
enjoy
keep
it,
you might go back to it another
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Who is the most interesting author you have ever met?
I think the only author... No, that's not true. I've met Victoria Williamson because she came to the school and I really enjoyed meeting her. And then after that, I met Matt Haig, and I think that was probably... we watched him speak about his book, and then we stopped and got him to sign various ones, and so we got a brief chat with him, but not enough, but then he was on autopilot and probably exhausted.
Yeah.
So I think I haven't met an awful lot of authors apart from that, and I would definitely like to meet more on a kind of a casual basis. I feel like they're under pressure when they're just they've never met anybody before, and they come up in front of you, thank you, can you sign this for me, and they're kind of just saying what they've said to everybody else, because what else can you do? But I love the idea that you get a chance to ask people more about I suppose that's where social media is a good thing, because you can follow authors on their journey of things, and so there's where social media can be used to your advantage. You can get to know the backstory to things, or watch people in their, like some of the comedy ones that I love, and they write their books. Dawn French, for example, love her, she's so funny, and I love reading her books as well, because I hear her voice as I'm reading the books. I can hear her, and then you follow her and she'll talk about things. So I suppose in person, maybe that's my quest, to meet more authors. Yes.
I've never met any author, but the author I really want to meet is Asagiri Kafka. He's the author of Bungo Stray Dogs.
And what are the chances you can meet him? Where would we have to go to find him?
Probably Japan.
Ah, okay, so not completely out of this world. You're still alive, so that's a start. Yeah, excellent.
Need
Excellent.
to be fast though, because Depends on how old he is.
Well, that's his book name. His like author
pseudonym.
name, not his real name.
Yeah. Is that how you pronounce it?
I also love Dalzai's books. He's dead, but
Oh,
that wasn't his real name. Yeah.
And they're right under there. Yeah.
Yeah. Pen name. That's what it's called. Pen
Pen
name.
name, yeah, not a pseudonym.
Yeah.
Is that different? I can't even
I don't
pronounce that properly. Yeah, I'll be quiet now.
Thank you very much for letting us interview you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.